So hi everyone. Thank you
What's
very
up?
much for being here. Sam?
Yes. What's up?
Okay, what's up? Working well. Okay, Sven, how are you? Working well?
Great, thanks for having me.
Okay, great. Mike, works
Good.
well?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, thank you. You all received the questions that we're going to ask from our audience. And before we're going to start, would you mind to introduce yourself yet again? What do you do? And what is your relationship with digital marketing? So, Sam?
All right. So I've been dealing with digital marketing for the last 15 years. Before I worked in the high tech. I didn't like it. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Sven?
Hello, everybody. My name is Sven Platte. I'm German Korean. I live in Switzerland. I have the honor to be the founder of Digistore24. It's an online reseller platform where we mainly focus on selling, also with an affiliate system, selling digital goods, courses, ebooks, but also supplements and books. And it's my first time here in Tel Aviv, and it's my first time here in Israel. I'm really thrilled to be here, and I'm excited for this conversation.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Welcome.
thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, Sven. Mike?
Hey, I'm Mike. I guess the easiest way to explain what I do is I'm kind of like Professor X from the X-Men. So just like Xavier, I have a handicap, but just like him, I travel the world and I look for extraordinary humans with special abilities. And then what I try to do is I try to push them beyond what they feel is possible, and then work together with them to make our world a better place.
That's beautiful. Guys, we should all learn from Mike how to introduce ourselves. Thank you, Mike. And my name is Alex. I'm the co-founder for SPS APP. It's a very interesting startup in business navigation and crowd management. And so welcome everyone else. Welcome for our panel. Let's start with our first question from the audience. What is the recent development in digital marketing, and how it helped your business the most? Like, what recent development in digital marketing have helped your business the most?
Me?
Sam, start with.
All right. So I'll focus just on video today. The stats I see at TikTok, I was in their offices lately. TikTok is a search engine right now. The demand is being in TikTok. It's created in TikTok. When you speak about, I don't know, like travel, buying decisions, e-commerce, everything now is video on TikTok. So you all need to focus on that. And Google is in a deep shit right now about that.
Okay, I don't know if we can say it out on stage, but thank you, Sam. Okay, Sven?
Okay, so what helped our business the most? So there was in recent times we had this pandemic, and there was a big shift towards online businesses. So we had a significant growth in revenue, and it's kind of sad that this even happened in the first place. However, it showed that digital marketing is a very reliable and stable and, let's say, growth-friendly business environment. And I saw a lot of good people moving from certain types of offline business towards online business, and especially digital marketing. And I think
Shifting
this...
from
Yeah.
offline to online.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
Okay.
And I think this is a great development because it provides stability and it provides jobs and opportunity.
Opportunities. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sven. Mike?
Yeah, just to add to what Sven said, I agree 100%. 2020 and 2021 were amazing years. 2021 was easy, almost too easy. A lot of companies and individuals made a lot of money. In 2022, we started seeing a shift in consumer mindset. We started seeing conversion rates dropping. And it's actually a good thing because from time to time you have to go through this purge process, and you have to get to a point where only the ones who are truly committed to playing the long game end up surviving. And I believe that is the time that we're going through right now.
Yeah, beautiful. I really like what you said about committed. I think a digital market is not, it's not something that you can do it in, very fast or something that you need to really, hold your breath for to see the results. Thank you. Second question: what challenges did you face last year in building and executing your digital marketing strategy? So this was last year, before we're going to start our next year. So Mike, you have the. Can we start? Let's do it this way.
Of course. I kind of touched on that. I feel that last year things were too easy. And what ends up happening inevitably when things are too easy, you become complacent. What I've seen in the organizations that I'm a part of is that people tend to go high on their own supply. And you tend to feel that, hey, you know what, I'm invincible. And yes, things have been going up, but it's going to continue going up forever. I feel that this year has been a humbling experience where a lot of people got punched in the face. So the challenge has been, how do you shift from this complacency of feeling that you're invincible and everything's just going to continue going up and you're going to continue crushing it, to all of a sudden getting this wake-up call and realizing that you actually do need to deliver value to the clients, to the employees, to the partners. Otherwise, the party is just going to end very quickly.
Okay, thank you. Added value, I love it. Sven.
It's quite interesting because with me, it's a bit different. I felt a big uncertainty regarding how the world is going to develop, and therefore also our industry, digital marketing. So I was like, okay, there was just this pandemic, it's not over, so what's going to happen next? So will we have a hyperinflation? Will we have, I mean, we even have kind of like a war, how big will this thing be? And so I felt a lot of uncertainty. I actually did not feel any close to invincible. I felt very vulnerable because I felt like I could not foresee the future. So what we did is like we took some risks, but also had in the back of our heads that we need to be conservative at some point because times could get worse, even in such a great industry like ours, which is digital marketing.
Love that. So what you did actually is about resilience. So you always thought about future, but you also had to be thinking about the present.
Yeah, you have to be self-confident and careful and a little bit fearful and respectful at the same time.
Okay, thank you. Sam.
Yeah, I can summarize it as that, life is about cycles. So once you're here, always remember there's a puddle somewhere, so get prepared. And once you're here, someday it's gonna, be over, so you'll be up again. So this is what I learned.
Okay. Life is a curve, right? It's always you have, okay, love that, thank you. So if we would choose one buzzword or a new trend that you're particularly interested in, it would be, Sam?
Right now, it's the Metaverse.
Metaverse, okay, thank you, Sam. That's right.
Cryptocurrency.
Again?
Cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency, okay.
It's still interesting, even if it's going down, it's still interesting.
Okay. The technology or the cryptocurrency in general?
Both. I mean, it's still the world's best performing asset, so it's still interesting and it still has a lot of potential, even though it goes in cycles.
Okay. Mike?
I'm going to go with an unusual choice. I would say that the buzzword that I am very interested now, and as much as I was interested 10 years ago, is kindness. I feel that people tend to forget the basics. Cryptos, AI, machine learning, metaverse. If you just focus on being kind to your people, your employees, your clients, your partners, in my experience, everything else tends to fall into place. A lot of people just forget the basics. They forget the importance of being kind. They forget the importance of empathy. They forget the importance of taking care of your people. to me, those would always be the top keywords.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, it becomes more and more interesting. Well, for me, the word I think is, after the pandemic, I think we all forget what it means to meet, what it means to meet face to face. And I think in digital marketing, when you're, kind of giving an expression to your your inner voice, and you're kind of being approachable. So for me, I think the word is being approachable. So this is kind of my word for this. Is there any podcast or a book that you read in the last year about the topic that you would like to recommend our audience? Is there a podcast or a book that you read the last year that you would like to recommend our audience? Think about it. I know Sven has a. Go.
Yeah, it's interesting because I just talked to my friend Anka about it. I recommend the book Winning from Jack Welch.
Okay.
It's a great book. It's a book about management and the importance of HR. If you have a bigger organization, if you want to be a great leader, I recommend you read that book. I know it's not the newest book, but it's still very, very valid.
Okay, Winning. Love that. A great book. Mike.
As far as the book, I would recommend Principles by Ray Dalio, the book as well as the app. He's got an amazing app where once you install it, you get one principle a day. I'm not going to bore you with the details of who Ray Dalio is, but definitely check out the book and the app. And podcast, it's easy. Our friend Anka, the Max Web podcast, she has the most amazing guests there, and I keep learning new things from it. So definitely check out the Max Web podcast.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Do you have something?
Yes, so the book is not related to digital marketing, but it's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I think I read it 10 times, and each time is different. It talks about the power of being focused on every day instead of being focused on what's going to happen next year, 10 years, 20 years. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. For me, it's always the same book. It's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So this is my #1 book all the time. Next question. What have you learned this year that you didn't know before 2021? Well, we're in 22, still are facing 2023. But what have you learned this year that you didn't know before in 21? Mike.
It's a trick question. I touched on it. I kind of knew it before because I'm 47, and this is not the first time that I go through these cycles. But this was a good year because it reminded me how everything that goes up will eventually go down. It was a humbling year, but at the same time, it reaffirmed a lot of things that I forgot because we were going through a bull market for a very long time. And this correction that we're currently going through was very much necessary.
Okay, thank you. Sven?
So I'm really into personal development, and the most interesting thing that I learned about this year was actually managing dopamine and really focusing on managing dopamine, because managing dopamine means that you manage your energy levels, your motivation. It's really the molecule of motivation. And to add a podcast recommendation about that topic, I can really recommend the Huberman podcast, the podcast of Andrew Huberman, who's an expert on that. He has also a great episode with Jocko Willink on his show. Check that out. It's going to change your life.
Okay, thank you. Sam? Okay. Is there any person in the industry that you would that you learn from and or get inspiration from?
Yeah. I'm always inspired by Tony Robbins. I've been in events. It's always make you think about your own options and possibilities and what you can achieve. It's also about, as you said, about dopamine management and energy management. And I think that the new generation right now starts to, let's say, act differently like in the old days. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Okay. Sven?
I am very inspired by Jocko Willink, who is a former Navy SEAL, who wrote the book Extreme Ownership. I implemented this extreme ownership concept into our company values because let's say every tech company really needs people who take a lot of responsibility, who own their jobs as if they would own the company. And it gives them a lot of motivation and drive, and I just love that concept, and I love how he described it. Great book, Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership. It's not the newest book, but again, I can recommend it to the fullest.
Thank you, Sven. Mike.
So I follow Sven. He has an amazing podcast. I've known Sam for, let's say, about 7, 8 years now. I follow Anka, follow Jeannie. I have a student mindset, and I try very hard to learn something from every single individual that I come in contact with. And many of the speakers, I would say almost every single speaker here at DMIEXPO, I follow them and I try to learn from them. I think it's very important to always have a student mindset and never get high on your own supply.
Okay, thank you. For me, it would be Itai Paz. You know, you said something about
Shout out
resilience.
to Itai Paz.
You said something about resilience, you said something about determination. And you know, I don't know if you're familiar with, but Itai Paz, he made this DMIEXPO for two times in a row, like 2019, 2020, and then the pandemic hit. And you know, everyone, I think, most of the people I know would say, you know what, forget about this, let's do some shifting. But you know, here we are again, 2 years later. So Itai Paz, I don't know if he's here, so he's my inspiration, you know, I know him for quite some time.
Love it.
So we're ready, okay, so we discussed about 2021, 2022. But what opportunities do you see in the market in 2023? Sam, let me challenge you. No Metaverse. Forget about Metaverse.
I still think that video is king. You just need to produce videos, and the war is on attention. You know, Gary Vaynerchuk speaks on that as well. It's always the competition on attention is going to get harder. So right now, as I see, you know, all platforms like, you know, TikTok, YouTube with shorts, and it's all about video. The algorithm likes video, LinkedIn likes video. You just need to do video, and that's it. 2023, it's for video.
Create more content, video content, visual content. Okay. Okay, thank you, Sam. Sven?
I see a lot of opportunity in the self-improvement space because I think the times that we're now in, let's say post-pandemic times, but inflation and stuff like that, people need a lot of self-confidence, resilience, and they need to be able to deal with their problems also on a psychological level. So I think anything regarding personal development, being able to acquire new skills, this is where I see big opportunities. Also the survival space, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with Sven, 100%. I would add that the world that we live in right now, post-COVID, Ukraine, depression, inflation, there is so much noise, so much pain. If you think about the consumer mindset, they're looking for instant gratification. So anything that has to do with self-development, travel, health, anything that will allow them to escape the current reality, which honestly is not that fun, those are the kind of verticals where we expect to see significant growth in the beginning of 2023.
Escapism, I like it. Escapism, right. Oh, do you see, you know, I know most of you are running, you know, budgets for campaign budgets on any channel. Do you see some sort of a shifting in budgets? People are, you know, more, I don't know, more conservative on the spend. Is there anything that you see in particular, some trends in ad spend on your sources? Mike?
So conversion rates took a deep dive in the beginning of 2022. We are starting to see a recovery with conversion rate because, again, it all goes back to the consumers who are buying products and services online. They were afraid. And people are starting to accept this is the new reality, which is why we are starting to see conversions and EPC transition back to what we remember from last year.
Okay, Sven?
Thank you. Yeah, at Digistore 24, I see a lot of people selling information products, also BizOp products, and I saw a better conversion with actually, let's call it more serious products. So products that made less, let's say, scammy claims that used to work in the past. So I think this whole industry is going to a more serious, more down-to-earth direction, and it's being rewarded by end consumers as well.
Can you give an example? What do you mean by more serious offers?
Yeah, it's a German term. Serious means seriös, which means non-scammy, which means like you can, you know, it's for example, if you have like, for example, I'm selling a software. It's called Core Channel. You can build websites, funnels, and also membership areas. This stuff used to be sold like by other people, like as, let's say, a wonder money-making machine. I don't sell it as a money-making machine. I sell it as like a useful software, a useful tool. I try to not overpromise, and this is what I call a little bit more serious in my terms.
Okay, I like it. Thank you. Sam?
Yeah, I see a lot of industries shifting their budgets to TikTok from many verticals. You know, they take budgets from pay-per-click, like the old days of Google AdWords, because they can create demand for, you know, downloading apps on TikTok, or creating demand for tourism, the tourism industry over there. And you know, I started with TikTok 4 years ago, and people were like, "What? You're joking? Like everybody, just for kids? Kids are dancing over there." Not anymore. People, it's like a platform for music exploration, and also people also teach others. For example, there's a nice example of a lady we teach about Excel tricks. She's huge over there. Actually, Microsoft just hired her. Okay. Yeah, to produce content and stuff. So I see a lot of a big shift to TikTok.
Interesting, you know, you keep saying TikTok. I can say I can relate to that because I come from a startup industry, and I see more and more startups and companies, big, you know, very big and well-known companies are also shifting towards TikTok, which is another platform for sharing content. So it's not just for a specific segment. So I really like that. It's really interesting. Do you see any challenges or major challenges? I know we're not prophets, right? We're not, you know, we cannot, you know, predict the future. But what do you see, or what sort of challenges do you see this industry is going to face in 2023? Professor X?
Well, I'm not a prophet, so it's hard to predict what's coming. But what we believe that compliance is going to become even more complicated than it is right now, which again is a good thing, right? Because whenever the bar is raised, it's a sign that, to Sven's point, the industry is maturing, and this is the phase that we're going through right now. So compliance is going to get more challenging. Like always, ad prices are traffic price is going to increase. The rookies, or the ones who were riding the wave in 2021 but were not as committed, are going to disappear. We're going to see a lot of consolidation in the space. So we're going to see companies joining forces. We're going to see individuals working together, because as it becomes more challenging, it's a lot easier to set up a team where one guy does the traffic, the other guy deals with the advertisers. And beyond that, there is so much talent right now that is pouring back into the industry, because all the big companies, the Facebook, the Twitters, the Googles, they are letting people go. And this presents a remarkable opportunities for companies like ours to acquire that talent and to truly level up.
Okay, thank you. Sven?
For me, I live in Europe, and in Europe the energy prices have gone up significantly next to the inflation situation. So from my point of view, there's a certain uncertainty regarding consumer behavior, and this is going to be a challenge, because if consumers cannot really have a hard time to afford the energy costs, if inflation is going or keeps going up, then it will be hard for them to spend money online easily, and therefore I project that probably conversion rates could go down, and the industry needs, let's say, they really need to think about their products, and they really need to think about how they sell it and what's really useful to them, so that people still want to spend money on that. So I see the, let's say, competition getting a bit tougher in the near future.
Okay, competition. Sam?
Yeah, I think that there are two challenges. One, nobody knows what's going to happen between Russia and Ukraine, and I don't know if something going to happen. It's going to destroy the whole predictions. Yeah. So the next thing which I was thinking about lately is about Elon Musk, that actually, he bought Twitter, and there's like a big mess going on over there. And imagine then, tomorrow he's going to buy CNN. He already holds, a Starlink for the internet. So he's becoming like, like a mogul for anything related to media. I don't know what's going to be, but I'm not sure there was something like that in the history of humanity before, like one guy who like controls the whole media. So it can be pretty problematic. You see what's going on Twitter right now. A lot of people resigned. Like he said, yeah, now you're going to pay $8 to have the blue check. And everybody were joking about that. Tomorrow he's going to do something else. So
if I understand right, so you're going to see a consolidation with a lot of,
a
lot of big players. Now, just before we continue, do we have any questions from the audience? I just want to leave enough time for the audience to ask questions for this distinguished guest. So before I continue, do we have questions from the audience? So just raise your hands, just so I know how many people have a question. Okay, good. So,
do we have any? Good. No, nothing? Wow.
Okay, so we'll just continue to our kind of a next question.
Want any water?
Of course I wanted some water. Thank you. Danke.
Welcome.
Can we do a Proust? Can we do a Proust?
Sure.
Proust. It's like
cheers.
You can do it either Proust or Lyhovez.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Cheers, guys. Thank you. So, we discussed a little bit about buzzwords. We discussed a little bit about challenges. And you understand that I'm from the startup industry, and we're always looking for something new, something that is outside of the box, something disruptive. Now, in terms of digital market, I know that there's always new trends, always new buzzwords, but is there any disruptive technology that you would say, and you can pinpoint and say, well, this is something that we look for, or we should look for, or should be maybe aware of? Disruptive technology. Professor X?
I'm actually not a fan of being number one. I mean, if we think about Facebook, Google, Amazon, those are all examples, and there are many more of companies who, they were not number one. ClickFunnels in our industry, they were not number one. When you're number one, A, you have a lot of errors in your bag, and B, the likelihood of failing is so much higher. So I always advise to not try to chase the next shiny object, but instead look for what's working and then find a way to make it slightly better.
Okay, thank you.
I see the, let's say, potential for disruption or disruption happening in the way end consumers are consuming our content. So nowadays, as a CEO and entrepreneur, I feel like I have to be present on social media. And I'm doing, I'm posting stuff on Instagram at Sven Platte, Platte, and stuff like that. And that wasn't the case like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. Like, this is like a recent development. And I feel that it's kind of disruptive because, like, if you want to be, in my opinion, if you want to be really successful with your company, must not only grow the company brand, but also your personal brand, and that's kind of new. So I also have a podcast. It's called Svencast, S-V-E-N-C-A-S-T, and I struggled a lot with this decision, because I was like, okay, I have to lead this company, I have to build this company. Does it really make sense to create a podcast? Does it really make sense to do a lot of content marketing? I'm here, you know, one of my appointments is I'm going to have a photo shoot, and it's kind of, it feels weird being like a business guy, you know, doing photo shoots, but we're in social media times, and yeah, people might see ads and click on them, but there is this 7 contact rule that means people are going to Google you, they're going to look for you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, and then they're going to look you up, and then they want to see if your values match, if they like you, if they find you sympathetic. And this is like a big disruptor, in my opinion, and it makes our life a bit harder, because we gotta do, you know, if you post, then you gotta do meaningful posts. You cannot just like write let's say, a 3-word caption. You have to write a meaningful caption, unless you look great or something like that. So I think this has disrupted business life a lot, but it's also a chance, if you're good at presenting yourself in an authentic way, to get customers, get attention, basically for less cost, essentially, if you can go viral and stuff like that.
Thank you, Sven. I think you are absolutely right, you know, because in my opinion, you know, I meet so many familiar faces here, and they know me from different companies that I used to work for, but they're not working with the company that I used to work for, or they're working with me. So people work with people, they're not working with companies. So I like it, really, thank you. Sam?
Yeah, you also do business with people. So basically, I always like to look at what the kids are doing, because they can predict the future. And what I see right now, that all kids are on Roblox every day, 8-10 hours per day. They buy Robux with you know, real money, and they switch costumes, and they switch other stuff. And there are some companies that actually build games inside the Roblox platforms, the platform, and it works pretty well. Another thing which I still see that still works is that, unlike, you know, with Instagram, which you need to have a big following, on TikTok you don't need to have many followers or many videos. You can have, like, you know, like I've seen it, like 5 videos, and 1 video can reach 10 million views. So it's all about the content. So it's still disruptive.
Okay, thank you. Now, every one of you has its own business, right? He has his own challenges, he runs a team, you know, you've been a while in this industry. Now, is there any, you know, one tip of advice that you would give, you know, any affiliates that want to go, or affiliates or business owners or marketers that want to go your path, or a very similar path that you're going through right now? Do you have one tip of advice for the next generation? How to run the business?
Yeah, I have.
Sam, go ahead.
I have a few, I think. One is to listen to yourself. Don't, you know, don't talk to too many people, because then you can get confused on what's good or right for you. Because only you know what's best for you. And sometimes, you know, you can speak even with your family and or even friends. It's not a good thing to do. Try to talk to other people with the same mindset, growth mindset, I call it. And that's it, I think.
Okay, but how do you know that he has a growth mindset? You know, sorry, I'll be the words.
You know, Tony Robbins speaks about that. He was actually at the Marines, and, you know, we spoke with the commander over there, and he talked about what all the guys are doing after that. So he said usually they do you know, regular jobs, because it's called a peer group. A peer group is people around you who have, you know, like a vision, and they want your best. If they try to, let you down, they say, oh, you don't know anything, it's wrong or something like that. Try to, push away from them and stick with the ones. Usually, who's your number one fan is your mother, your mama.
Okay, thank you. Sven?
So my tip for beginners and beginner entrepreneurs is to start out with being a very interested customer in a product or service that is kind of similar to what you want to, let's say, sell. And if you go through that customer experience yourself, you know what you like and what you don't like. It's amazing, like for example, I'm very picky with hotel rooms, and I'm like, I know exactly what I like and what I don't like, and so I think I could run a hotel. I just believe that. Just from my own customer experience. And a lot of people who start businesses make the mistake, they never get the customer's view. So what you have to do is, you have to get the customer's view. You have to go through all the sales processes. You have to learn what works with you. Like what triggers you emotionally to sell, or to buy. What makes the sale with you. And if you really focus on that, then you can create a good service and product market fit.
I love it. Become a buyer before a seller.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. Mike?
Yeah, so a lot of people get into this industry looking for an overnight success. And unfortunately, this overnight success takes about a decade. So what my tip would be, you have to care. You have to truly care. And what I mean by that is you have to care about what you do. You have to care about the people that you work with. You have to enjoy the journey. Because if you are getting into this only to reach some fictional destination, thinking that, oh, once I have X in the bank, I'm going to be happy, you're never going to get there, and you're never going to get happy. You have to focus on finding a way in which you can enjoy the journey, and you have to find a way to care about what you do. And if you get in and just find yourself not caring about the industry that you happen to be in or the people that you work with, just pivot, just do something else.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mike. For me, just to conclude on what you all guys said, for me, I think one of the most successful things that I ever, I can only offer this for our audience is our network. Our network of connections, but valuable network. You always say your network is your net worth, right? And building a network of growth, growth-minded people with people that can contribute to your growth or can contribute to your journey. And, and again, this is something that we discussed about earlier. People do business with people, not with companies. So thank you about that as well. Now, before we continue, we still have a few minutes. Do you have any questions for the audience? Digital marketing guys? Everyone's shy today.
Anyone has any problem they are interested in us solving for them?
They're great problem solvers. I know every one of them.
That's what it comes down to, honestly.
So you know what, before we wrap it up, who are you looking to meet in this conference? Who would be interesting for you guys? Mike, who would you like to meet?
Honestly, anyone and everyone. I mean, I just spent 30 minutes earlier speaking to another human being who has absolutely nothing to do with this industry. And we talked about their marriage, and we talked about kids, and we talked about how do you balance it all. And I learned so much. So to me, focus on being interested. There's so much we can learn from our fellow humans.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
I'm always interested in meeting growth-minded people, and of course people who like to sell digital products online and supplements.
Okay. Sam.
I actually don't have any agenda. I just like to speak with people and to learn about them. I think you can learn from everybody. It doesn't matter who you are or what's your profession. There is always something you can learn, even the small thing, and then you take it from there.
Okay, thank you. And for me, I'll just be happy to meet with every one of you. And if you have any opportunities you're looking here, I know quite a few people here in the audience and here in this room. So if you're looking to hook up with someone, and looking for opportunities, I'll be more than happy to help. And so let's give a a chorus and thank you for our panel. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for your
Thank you.
bits
Thank
of
you.
wisdom.